The Magic Car and the Mummy Mystery. It all started when the Patel family landed in Cairo for their holiday. Maya, aged 11, her little brother Rafi was 8, and their parents stepped outside the airport into heat like an oven, dragging sun cream, hats, and far too many bags. Maya and Rafi were too excited to be tired. They were excited and looking forward to an adventure. They had begged and begged their parents for a holiday with a difference, instead of boring old buckets and spades in wet and windy Wales. "Taxi!" called Dad, waving as he grappled with the suitcases. Out of the line of cabs came one that made Maya blink. All the others were white. This wasn't white. It wasn't new. It was a very large old black car, like something out of a vintage film, with golden stripes down the side, like the headdress of an ancient pharaoh. The driver wore dark sunglasses and a shiny white scarf. He took off the sunglasses to reveal piercing blue eyes and a wide smile. "Hop in," said the driver in a deep, booming voice. The family piled in, and the doors clunked shut with a sound like stone slabs siding together. "Where to?" asked the driver. "The Grand Hotel, please," Mum replied cheerfully. "Excellent," the driver purred. "How much will it be?" asked Dad. The driver shrugged. "If you're happy for a small, shall we say, detour, there will be no charge." Well, that suited Mum and Dad. After all, holidays to Egypt do tend to be a bit more than the whole wet and windy Wales thing. And a detour might mean seeing a few more sights on the way, which, as it happens, they certainly would. The car engine rumbled, louder than any taxi should. The streets of Cairo blurred, lights flickered, the sound of car horns faded. Maya gasped. "Mum, Dad, look!" Out the windows, skyscrapers dissolved into sand dunes. Neon signs faded into blazing sun. A camel plodded past. A line of men in white tunics carried baskets of dates. "That's a heck of a detour," spluttered Dad. "It's like we've gone back in time," Rafi whispered, pressing his nose to the glass. Mum scrabbled in the bag for the holiday brochure. Peering at it, she said, "I don't think we paid for this excursion." The driver chuckled. "All part of the service. Welcome to ancient Egypt." The car screeched to a halt outside a giant temple. On the walls were colourful paintings of gods, pharaohs, and a priest in a white robe rushed over, wringing his hands. "Oh, noble strangers, thank Ra that you are here. The sacred amulet of Princess Neferu has been stolen. Without it, her mummy will never rest." The driver adjusted his scarf. "This family can help." Mum looked horrified. "Excuse me? What?" But Maya's heart raced. She'd wanted an adventure after all. "We'll do it," she blurted out. The priest bowed. "Then hurry. The thief has been seen towards the Valley of the Kings, seeking more treasures from her crypt, I expect." This odd car roared back to life, kicking up sand as it shot across the desert. In the distance, a figure galloped on horseback, clutching something that glittered in the sun. The amulet. "Hang on!" the driver boomed and pressed a golden scarab-shaped button. The car sprouted giant stone wheels like slabs from a pyramid and thundered after the rider. "Faster!" Rafi yelled, bouncing along in his seat. The thief's horse veered into a narrow canyon. The car followed, walls of sandstone whizzing past. Suddenly, whoosh! A hidden net dropped across the canyon, meant to trap pursuers. "Duck!" shouted Maya. The car didn't slow. Instead, it shrank, the whole vehicle compressed like an accordion, zipping under the trap before stretching back to full-sized. "Whoa," Dad said weakly. "I'm never complaining about London taxis again." The thief vanished into a dark tomb entrance. The car screeched to a halt outside, its headlights glowing like torches. "Go," the driver said gravely. "The spirits will not permit me to enter, but I will guard the car." Maya, Raffi, Mum and Dad crept inside. The air was cool and smelled of dust. Their footsteps echoed. On the wall, painted eyes seemed to follow them. Hieroglyphs wriggled in the torchlight, almost alive. At the end of the passage stood the thief, a hooded man holding the amulet. "Stay back," he hissed. "This treasure belongs to me." But before anyone could move, the floor gave way. Sand poured in like a waterfall, separating the family from the thief. And from the shadows came a low groan. The sarcophagus at the centre of the chamber creaked open. Out stepped a mummy, bandages yellow with age, eyes glowing like embers. "Return the amulet," it moaned. The thief screamed and dropped the amulet, bolting into the darkness. The mummy's gaze shifted to Maya and Raffi. "Help me!" Maya stepped forward, her fear melting into curiosity. "You're Princess Neferu, aren't you?" The mummy nodded slowly. "Without my amulet, my spirit cannot rest. Place it on my chest." Maya picked up the golden amulet. It was warm, pulsing like a heartbeat. She laid it gently on the mummy's wrappings. There was a flash of light. The bandages glowed, then crumpled into dust. In their place stood the ghostly image of a beautiful young princess in golden robes. "Oh, thank you," she whispered. "I can now rest. But beware, the thief serves a greater darkness." The tomb shook violently. Dust rained from the ceiling. "Quick!" Dad shouted. "Come on, it's collapsing!" As the ghostly image faded, the family raced back through the tunnels, the princess's warning echoing in their minds. As they came out into the burning sun, the driver revved the car. "Get in!" As they piled inside, a massive sandstorm roared across the desert, whipped up by some unseen power. The thief stood on a dune, raising his arms, controlling the storm like a wizard. "Hold tight," the driver barked. "I must take you back to the present time before this enchantment wears off." The car's roof sprouted wings of gold, and with a mighty flap, it took off, soaring above the storm. Lightning crackled in the swirling sands below. They could see skyscrapers rise from the sands. The roads appeared, filling with cars like ants as they began to fly lower and lower. Raffi pressed his face to the window. "Best taxi ride ever!" The car landed with a bump in front of the Grand Hotel. Traffic roared around them, back to normal. The sun was setting. The driver turned. "You did well. The princess's spirit is free." "But the thief, he escaped," said Raffi sadly. Maya frowned. Who was he? And what was that storm?" The strange driver cocked his head. "A very bad man. But he will think twice before any more raids. And I had to bring you back before you were stuck there forever. Don't worry. There will be others who can help me put everything right in time." He opened the door and the family stumbled out. The golden striped taxi revved once, then sped away, vanishing into thin air as if it had never been. It felt like a bizarre dream. After they unpacked their bags, they took a walk to the museum and inside wandered dazedly past the displays. They stopped at one case and froze. It held a painted wooden mask, labelled Pharaoh Amenhotep III, the Magnificent King, father of the Princess Neferu. Legend says his spirit wanders through the centuries to avenge the raiding of his beloved daughter's tomb. Maya gasped. It was the same face as their taxi driver. The same wide smile. The same piercing eyes. Dad rubbed his neck. "So, our driver was the ghost of a pharaoh," Raffi whispered. Maya didn't answer. She was staring at the mask. For a second, just a second, she thought it winked at her. "What a mystery," she gasped. That night, in a quiet car park behind the museum, the odd taxi reappeared, headlights glowing like twin suns. The ghostly driver leaned back in his seat, waiting. A scarab beetle crawled across the bonnet. The driver chuckled softly. "There will always be more mysteries," he said to the night as if it could hear what Maya had said. "And another passenger." The engine purred like a lion. The golden stripes gleamed. And somewhere in the city of Cairo, another family was about to step inside. Thank you to Michael for taking us on that amazing adventure with the magic car and the mummy mystery. I enjoyed travelling back to ancient Egypt with you, Michael. Thank you for your idea. If you have any title that you'd love to see us bring to life, maybe you want to take us time travelling somewhere different, I'd love that. Send it over to the story quest page at funkidslive.com. Got an idea for a story? Tell us the title at funkidslive.com/storyquest and we could bring your story to life. For a new story each week, make sure you hit subscribe or follow so you don't miss a single episode. Also, to get access to over 300 stories, ad-free listening, and early story releases, become a Fun Kids Podcast Plus subscriber. Just sign up at funkidslive.com/plus.